All right. Okay to go?
Yes, all good.
All right. So welcome everybody. I am MAURIZIO, I'm Director of Commerce for Ranosys, and I am joined here by my colleague Praneet, who is a Marketo consultant. And today we will be talking about how to acquire and convert B2B clients with Adobe Commerce and Marketo Engage. So using a combination of these two tools. And it's not just about the tools, it's actually about the best practices and what are the things that normally need to be done in B2B commerce to make sure that you achieve that success that you're looking for. And before we dive in, let me give you a bit of an overview of what we're going to be talking about. So I think that the idea overall is to take your clients from zero to hero. So from being completely unaware of the brand to moving all the way through the journey to becoming advocates of it. Now, there is some areas that need to be distinguished between B2C and B2B. And in B2B, the areas here in orange are the ones that are more typically tied to the B2B context. So they differ compared to how they would work on B2C. And Praneet will kick off the presentation talking about the find and engage area. So this is like before they even start, the user starts visiting the website. And then with me, we will be exploring all these other areas which are related to the on-site, specifically on the on-site experience, because experience is much of a broader concept, but we'll see afterwards. I'll give you a little bit more insights into how we got this information and what we're doing with it. So Praneet, I'd say over to you.
Thank you, Maurizio. Hi, everyone. I'm Praneet, of course, Marketo consultant at Ranosys. I'll be talking about how Marketo can help boost B2B business when synced with Magento. Now, as we talk about the buyer journey, as Maurizio said, before pandemic, buyers had variety of choices of products physically available to them to touch, feel, and try. But now after pandemic, the buyer journey has changed drastically. Buyers are more inclined towards buying online from home and avoiding going out. Now, since the buying process has changed, marketers need to renew or attract these new buyers. The new buyer journey that starts with an awareness of the business or product. Then you find the businesses and engage with them. Then you browse and register and activate, and then you evaluate those options. Now you have a buying decision after that and you finally purchase it. Now in this whole journey, 80% of the buying journey is self-driven as before they interact with you. Now it's out of our control. We cannot control that, but these leads can be nurtured if they land on our website. Now this buying journey can depend that you have B or B2C, but today we'll be focused more on B2B instead of B2C. Now, we all know that there are two approaches, B2C and B2B. Maurizio. They both are very different with different processes and marketing strategies. You can't just apply B2C strategy to B2B just because it seems familiar with the customers. Yes, like B2C, B2B marketing involves nurturing prospects at each stage of their journey, but the main goal is to guide prospects along each step. B2B business should make it clear which business problem does their business product solve and what makes them different. It should make it clear to the clients or leads to evaluate options through trial, demo, or solution, and it should be easy for them to purchase. The journey is definitely similar to what we discussed in the previous slide. But in B2C, sales personalized messages are spread to customers directly. But in B2B, you can not only spread personalized messages, you also need to provide all of the relevant information and build relationships. Now, there are many challenges in B2B commerce that you are facing, but the first and the foremost challenge, the common challenge that people must be facing is that you might have a lot of traffic to the website, but hardly 2% of them convert. Now, this is the scenario we have seen with our clients. When we talk about B2B commerce marketing, we somehow tend to lean towards how we can attract more traffic. Now, there is but one better approach towards improving website profitability, and that is optimizing conversion rate. Now, quick solution to that challenge is that you can deliver an engaging, frictionless, personalized experience for each individual client. You need to provide a customer first experience to current clients and the new customers to generate leads. You can make it easy for them to use a tool website. You can improve their experience by helping them as possible. Like, for example, whatever questions they have on their stages, you can answer them through FAQs on the product pages. You can also have landing pages personalized so that they feel that they have a personalized experience. Now, the second most common challenge is that in the B2B, we are dealing with a long buying cycle that involves multiple of people at the decision making. Now, since there are too many people involved, emails sent to them does not differ according to stakeholder roles. Now, B2B email marketing can ensure that relevant information is provided to each persona at the right time. This means multiple emails spread over a long period of time targets more than one person. So you should be geared towards lead nurturing with call to action generating interest. You could put email marketing strategy in place to diversify your message and collect additional data points for targeting processes. And so B2B email marketing will help bring in conversion and add value across the customer life cycle. You can use dynamic content. You can use personalization in the emails, newsletter, and landing pages so that the people feel more close to the businesses. Now, the third most common challenge that clients are facing is to improve the brand awareness and presence on the social media. While it may seem social media is more relevant for needed in B2C e-commerce, social media is a great tool to drive traffic and qualified leads to your site in B2B commerce too. Now, since 83% of B2B clients use social media, they are more certainly using spending time on social media. But you can leverage these social media channels extensively to get more attention to your businesses. The more the users see the presence of it on the social media, the more they will be aware about it. Not only does it drive traffic, it creates trust for your customers through an overall brand voice and image. LinkedIn ranks high as a B2B e-commerce marketing platform, turning content into leads. Now let's have a look at the buying journey of B2B that Gartner proposed recently. This buying journey is long and complex, but I'll just go through an overview of it. This consists of a wide range of people with their own specific roles and responsibilities. There will be people researching the solutions, design is needed, financial representatives need to approve the budget, and so many more. But all this complexity needs to have a lot to keep up with. This is where solid back office management comes in. You have to be able to efficiently provide each stakeholder your business interacts with the information they need to do their jobs. Now, as we had a look at the challenges and how we can solve them, let's have a look at how Marketo can help attract and engage the leads and help to them. Includes several tools to help your team increase the top funnel activity and lead generation. Real-time personalization, social awareness, these are essential to increase awareness and attract qualified leads to your website. Now, since offering a seamless and engaging B2B end-to-end customer experience is always a top priority for the B2B marketers, the only way to achieve such goals is to combine lead nurturing campaigns with the power of marketing automation to automate and personalize customer engagement. Now, we know Marketo can help attract, engage, and nurture. Let's have an overview of what are the features of Marketo. Now, Marketo is a SaaS-based marketing automation software owned by Adobe, and it is built to help organizations automate, measure, and measure marketing engagement, tasks, and overflows. Now, there are features that Marketo has, that is marketing data environment, integrated profile and engagement history to segment and activate audiences. You can segment the audiences according to the the country, the names and everything. You can learn how to segment data based on the purchase activity and buyer persona. In content personalization, there are a lot of things in Marketo. You can learn which content performs best with audience insight content, as well as create new content that resonates with the customers. You can put tokens to personalize with the people. You can put landing pages with tokens, and you can have personalized content. Cross-channel engagement. Coordinate engagement across human and digital channels. Now, end-to-end engagement for modern demand marketing. You can deliver exceptional experiences across every stage of the customer's journey to drive efficient growth in concert with sales. Experience automation. Now, two key features of Marketo: lead nurturing and lead scoring. Lead nurturing helps you build relationships with the customers at every stage of your buyer journey. And lead scoring is a backbone of lead nurturing. It is a strategy that determines where the lead is at the buying model. Sales partnership. Now, Marketo helps align marketing team and sales team so that marketing team can pass on the sales qualified leads to sales team, and sales team have much more time to spend on them and retain them and nurture them. Marketing analytics. We have a lot of analytics in Marketo that can help and improve impact with attribution across touch points. There are many other more features in Marketo specializes in, like you can trigger behaviors, and you can have A/B testing of the emails, landing pages. You can increase inbound traffic. Now, if you have achieved excellent B2B results from Magento Commerce and Magento Marketo individually, together they have the power to deliver the right content at the right time, on the right channel, at the right customer time. Now, we will talk about how not only the 5 features Marketo and Magento Sync have, but they can help you roll the dice. The 5 main features of Marketo and Magento Sync are customer data sync. The connector syncs your Magento store's customer data seamlessly in Marketo by creating a new lead, and then Marketo can use this customer data to trigger future emails, track customer activity, and generate reports. The second is lead segment, progressive profiling. You can use smart Marketo forms to gradually gain lead intelligence, and you can capture more information with every new touch point. Now, progressive profiling it accumulates relevant information about the prospect. Marketo can also send auto responses to those prospects who have filled the form. The third is cart abandonment. Often customers may come to your site, browse around, and add items to their cart, but rather than purchasing, they leave your site before completing the purchase. Now, how do you connect back to those prospective customers, bring them through your buyer journey? You need a sophisticated system so that buyer's abandoned cart information is moved through a nurture program of marketing activities that are personalized to them. Buyers need personalized messages to encourage them to buy from your brand and remain loyal to your site. Automate lead segmentation. The sync allows you to analyze the complete journey of your customers by mapping the tracking history of your unknown and the leads with the existing customers. With the help of Marketo Munchkin code. It lets you track the activities of the customers through order and product details and segment them. Automated email nurturing. Marketo Marketo system has themes and ready-made templates of emails, newsletter, forms, images, and call to actions can be dragged and dropped while content can be customized. You can send automated and highly targeted emails to the customers, letting them know about their product offerings and marketing newsletters. When your organization has both Marketo and Magento, you are benefiting from them individually, but connecting the two harnesses heightens the full range of their features. Now, what you may need from an agency is that you need platform consulting services, platform implementation, digital marketing automation, strategy and consulting, integration with third-party technologies, that is CRM, content personalization, implementation of launch point partner application, and analytics and custom reporting. Now, I would like to pass on to Maurizio to talk about the on-site experiences.
Okay, thanks, Praneet. I think if there are any questions, it would be good if you guys can post the questions to us, because it's quite a fast-paced presentation. We have a lot to talk about, and we don't know exactly if we'll manage to answer all your questions. So if you could just submit your questions on the little Q&A session part. If we don't get the time to answer them, we will prepare all the answers and send them out to all the participants after the webinar. So right now, what we said essentially is that we need to get the clients somewhere, and we need to be able to nurture those leads, convert them into opportunities, and hopefully into sales. But it comes a point when the client is actually landing on your website, and you want to make sure that that experience is as good as it can get. And there are various reasons for this. Why this needs to be like top notch. But before we do that, before we talk about that, let me give you the context of how we got this information. I think it's quite important. So over the last 3 years, I've been carrying out the research for my own sake. I wanted to figure out whether e-commerce success could be reverse engineered. So I started talking to a number of professionals across different roles for different companies operating B2B, B2C, and so on across a number of territories. And I've sent out more than 200 polls and surveys to people around the world to understand what the perception from a customer perspective is when landing on these websites. So what is it that's important to them, and what do they value, and all this. Now, these companies range in terms of online turnover. It's about 45 companies, I think it's 47, but the online turnover that they have ranges from 500,000 to 1 billion, but the bulk of them are really between 5 and 50 million in turnover. So it just gives you an understanding of where these are from. Most of these companies are from Europe and
we lost you, Maurizio.
Okay, so that could be, so just bear that in mind. This is more Europe focused. Okay, right. So before we talk about how to achieve e-commerce success, we should probably understand what that is. So to my understanding, based on all these conversations, it's a matter of balancing the customer expectations with the business expectations. Now, some may say that, we don't really care about the customer as long as we are successful. But the point is that when that happens, it's unbalanced and it's not future-proof, because essentially your clients will start dropping off. So you could achieve a short-term success by focusing on your own objectives alone. But if you balance it with the expectations of the client, ultimately it's going to be it's going to be an ongoing success throughout the years. So from a business perspective, you may want to increase sales, efficiency, your intel, so that you can do better marketing, more cost-effective marketing, and ultimately it grows your ability to scale. That's what you're looking to achieve there. And when it comes to the customer expectations, yes, you do have the experience that we will be discussing about, and bearing in mind that experience is quite a broad concept, right? Because you have like the experience with customer service, with the product itself, with your marketing, with your communication. But today we'll be talking more about the on-site experience. Then you have security, which is a funny one because nobody cares about it unless it's wrong. So when it's wrong, it's crisis, but when it's right, nobody really notices it. Convenience is something that it's a blend of a number of factors. It's being able to shop from home, being able to shop 24/7, convenience in price, convenience in the size or variety of the catalog, being able to compare. So in that convenience, there is a huge variety of things. And the funny thing about security is that it's not security in the technical term, it's the perception of security. Sometimes the perception, based on the surveys, the perception of security sometimes is given by image consistency, font consistency, colors, layout. It could be anything around that. It's not just the logos demonstrating that the site is secure, it's the overall perception that you give of security. And then there is the core values of the business that need to be aligned with the core values of your client. So essentially all this goes into meeting customer expectations. But today we're going to be talking about the on-site experience. So again, just before we move on to that, this is going back to what kind of convenience is and why people shop online. I don't want to talk about specifically why people shop online, but it's just to demonstrate that there's a huge variety of different reasons why people choose to shop online. And some of them, yes, are more dominant, but the ones in white, for example, are more related to convenience, and the ones in black are more related to price, essentially cost. But there is, in the 92% up here on the top left, you see that there's another 10 reasons combined. So we just gave options and people start ticking all sorts of boxes. So it's just to give you a sense of, you know, it's not just about giving the right price. There's much more to it. Okay. So we're going back to this timeline here, and now we're going to be focusing specifically from browsing to the feedback part. And we're going to go into them in let's say high level, but to explain what this is, we're going to be looking at all the key success areas of a successful online on-site experience. And these that you see here are essentially the pillars of success of an online experience. So it's quite summarized, so you will see quite a lot of things. I encourage you to ask questions. At the end of this, we will ask you which of these areas you're most interested in, because then if we have time, I'll try to elaborate a little bit more on this, on those specific areas. Okay. So on top of all those 8 areas that we talked about, there's another 3. And these 3 areas are speed, because it's worse to have a slow site than a site which is down an hour every day, simply because the experience it's compromised by the speed, essentially. So the quicker the speed, the higher the speed, the better the experience, and speed has a direct correlation to conversion rate. So the faster the site is, the more it's going to convert. Personalization is another very important one. You can deliver, you know, 5-star service on all those areas there, but if it's not personalized, it means it's generic for everyone. So in most cases, it won't be highly relevant for that specific customer or client. So what we want to do is make sure that these experiences are tailored around the individual client based on their, for example, browsing history, purchase history, or behavior, or location, or time of day in which they're browsing, I don't know. So it's like, we just need to try and make sure that it's highly personalized. Now, there is a third one, which is not a must, I would say, for B2C commerce, but B2B commerce is characterized by the lack of digital savviness of your clients. So when you're selling B2B, it's highly likely that you will have quite traditional clients that are maybe running shops, and they like to buy, calling your customer service or sending you an email, or sometimes even a fax. And ultimately, you just need, if you want people to switch from sending emails or phoning you up to going onto a self-service platform, the #1 rule is that it needs to be as simple as it can get. And it should never kill the human relationship. Because one of the reasons why people buy from you rather than buying from Amazon is probably because they have a connection with you of some sort. So in an ideal world, what you need to do is make sure that you still find a way to have a human interaction with your clients. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Browsing experience. These are not all the elements. These are some of the key elements that you need to make sure that you get right. And 2 notes here, which are here on the left, is that the larger your catalog is, the more important taxonomy, filters, and search will become. And the second thing is that if you have highly complex product, or very many products as well, what you may want to do is to add guided selling to the equation, and also product configurators. Because remember, the objective here is to make life really, really easy for your clients. Otherwise, the risk is that they won't switch to the self-service platform. So that's something that you want to do. So taxonomy is essentially the art of categorizing your products and content, right? So in many cases, what we've seen is that what happens is that the merchant tends to have an internal way of categorizing all the products, which may not be in any way relevant to how the client would like to see it. So for example, this is a silly example, but it gives the idea. You may decide to categorize all your products by weight and volume. It says nothing about the product itself, but it may be very useful for you internally. But when you are on the website, you need to categorize that information based on how people would like to see it displayed and how they search for it. So bear in mind that the taxonomy, there is one for the merchant and one for your clients. And these should not conflict, but at times they may well combine. They may be the same thing. Now, filters is a very, very important thing, because when we talk about taxonomy, one thing to say is that on your menus, I mean, your menus are probably the maximum expression of displaying the taxonomy of your site. So if the menu items are too many, people quit using it. They revert to search, essentially. They don't make an extensive use of the menu. So the menu should be condensed into as little as possible to make things easy to navigate. So you should never go over 3 layers of subcategories, like never. If you have 1 million products, which is the case with many B2B clients, I can assure you that there's probably a way of leaving that to 3 levels. And if there isn't, you probably don't need to go into all that level of detail anyway. So filters is one thing that will help. You have a high level category, and then within the category, you can filter by all the product attributes. The important thing about here, considering that we're talking about how to do this on Adobe, is that the Magento itself, or Adobe Commerce, has an enormous capability around filtering by attributes and attribute groups and all sorts of things. So essentially, this is out of the box functionality. It's just a matter of sitting down and understanding how these need to be filtered to create those filters within the Magento website. Now, with these filters, still, it may be that people have an idea of what they want to buy, and it's probably quicker, especially when you have 50,000 products, to just search for the individual product. Now, search has since evolved since we had this issue, and now we are on to natural language search and all sorts of beautiful things that search can do. And what I would say is that if you decide to invest in third-party technology, search is definitely one of those things. Magento does have, or Adobe Commerce does have, search functionality, of course, and you can start with that. But if you have a very, very extensive catalog, maybe that's one area where you would probably like to invest more. Content is another way for people to browse around the site, right? So when you have tutorials or articles about new products, about how to solve a specific problem, this is something that people relate to. And the good thing that you should do within these content areas is to also insert relevant products that are related to that blog post, for example. AI-powered recommendation is something which is more seen on the B2C side of things, but actually it's proven to be really effective on B2B as well, because your clients may always buy the same things, but sometimes they buy the same things because they don't know better, or they don't know, or they haven't spent the time looking for products which could solve the problem in a better way. And the beautiful thing about this is that you can set these logics to, for example, display very similar products where you have a higher margin. So maybe your sales can also go up in margin. Saved list is something that registered users normally use, but it's very frequent in B2B because they, for example, they have a project, a repeated project that they do. Let's say when you're building houses, you may build 10 of the same houses, but you only order the same things over and over again. So why force your client to always go in and upload a list of SKUs or things like that? Just allow them to save a basket. And from that, you say, okay, this is project A, add to basket, buy. So that's one thing which is really relevant. Again, something which is possible with Magento. And the next thing is customer service, which has got nothing to do with Magento if you want, but customer service needs to be able to see all these things because people still like that human touch. And if you don't have a huge amount of B2B clients, please don't use chatbots, because I would like to interact with people, with real people. Sometimes it's not just about, getting the answer. It's really about getting a connection. And that's what you want to have if you're looking to build loyalty with your clients. Okay. Again, questions, please submit if you have any questions. I'm going to move on quite rapidly. All right. So we have, I have a bit of time left. Okay. So register. People register on B2C sites as well, but with B2B, it becomes nearly a mandatory thing that you have to do. Whoops. Sorry, let's go back. So make sure that your forms are extremely short. Only collect the information which is absolutely critically useful to determine whether that client can be approved or not. Okay, that's the first instance. You always have time afterwards to collect more information, but to start with, only the essentials. Confirmation is something that needs to be very clear. So the moment you submit the form, you need to tell the client what to expect, because at the moment, at that point, they're like waiting, right? And they don't know how long they need to wait for. So specify that. Tell them, this is what we're doing. We're evaluating your account. We'll let you know within the next, I don't know, 48 hours, right? And in some cases, that process can be automated. So I'll tell you in the next slide. But customer service as well needs to be aware of this thing happening, because they may decide to engage with customer service if you don't tell them in advance what's going to happen. And therefore, they need to have visibility over which accounts are being activated or have been activated and which ones are still pending. And if there is information missing, just they may collect it directly there and insert them directly into the system. So, and this is where process automation kind of comes in, because in some cases with some clients, we've automated the entire approval process for it. So you don't actually have a second stage, because the moment they submit the request, the system does everything automatically and decides whether it should be approved, whether it needs to be rejected, or whether it's somewhere in the middle and therefore needs manual intervention, okay? But this speeds up a lot, and that means that you can push more on your marketing side to get more clients, because that process has been now automated. Okay, so now we go into the activate. So first of all, proactive notifications. Make sure you tell people, even if you don't have an update, at the end of the day, just send the message out automatically and say your registration process is still being reviewed. We'll let you know as soon as possible, but we'll send you an update tomorrow again. Okay. The approval criterion. This is something that in many cases I've asked clients, you know, what is the criterion, and they do know, but not. It seems to vary. Sometimes there is a benefit in actually putting all that down on paper into a flow so that it's clear, because the moment it's clear, most of it, I can assure you, that can be automated. So doing this, again, will accelerate everything. And the objective of this is to get your client to buy as soon as possible, because they can't experience the entire experience until they've purchased and received a good, right? An item. So you want them to make that first purchase as soon as possible while they're still warm and open to experiencing whatever you've built for them, okay? Then the next thing is segmentation. The moment that you activate a client, it should already be defined in which segment it goes, right? Because this is your first interaction. So maybe there is a segment which is new clients, and new clients, maybe you want to pamper a little bit more. So the idea of registering, getting someone registered, and then seeing how they behave and how much they buy to then decide in which segment to put them, it's, I think, a thing of the past. You need to have an idea, a strategy in mind already at the beginning for the new clients. So make sure you put them into the right segment, if possible, automatically. Now, the client panel is something even more interesting, in my opinion, because yes, your clients will be able to, once they receive the approval, they go onto their panel. They may need to insert some more information. They may want to set up their preferences, what kind of newsletter they want to receive, being able to save a credit card, for example, so that if they want, they can settle their bills directly there from the panel, view their all their order history, the invoices, everything, right? So that's a crucial area of being an active client. It's not just the ability to buy, it's not just the information that you need as a merchant, it's also the information and the tools that they need as clients. So that's one area which can be enhanced, but there's already quite a lot there in Magento anyway. One little suggestion is a welcome package. It's not necessarily a gift that you're giving them. It's probably like a set of information, an email that gives them like useful contacts, or I don't know, if you have scheduled promotions, for example, just give them an idea of when these happen. Or if you have tiers and you say, you know, clients that spend more than £50,000 in a year, they achieve this level of discount and so forth. Let them know so that they can create their own strategy with you as a merchant. And then there is customer service again. My opinion is that once the client is registered and is active, they should receive a call from customer service. And whether it's needed or not, it doesn't really matter. It's just to say, hello, welcome on board. We're here to help you achieve your goals, okay? So make sure that customer service is reaching out, whether it's email, whether it's SMS, WhatsApp, or whatever, but make sure that they reach out. Okay. Now, we go on to the validating journey. Now, once we said that the client can browse the website, right, in general terms, they can do this before they register, but after they register in B2B, normally there is additional information they can see. Maybe they can see the complete catalog, or maybe they can see different pricing. But ultimately, let's assume for a second that now they have browsed the site, they have come to find some of the products that they want to buy, and they're now in that validation phase, which precedes the purchase phase, okay? So in this phase, it's about building trust and by providing clarity. So the product information needs to be totally like perfect. It's not enough to say that this is item X, minimum volume purchasable is this. It's just not enough. You really need to give a lot of details, because maybe your clients want to give a different, a really nice experience to their customers, right? So they want to be able to explain things. So the more information you provide, the better, right? I think that if you divide it in the right way, there is no such thing as too much information. So that's something to bear in mind. Of course, above the fold in the product page, you just want to keep that relatively minimal. Now, the second thing is product comparison, especially in B2B, where they may decide to choose many products. You want to make it simple for them to compare products, a feature which, of course, Adobe Commerce already has. Images and videos, back in the days, it used to be that B2B sites were really just a list of SKUs where you kind of uploaded the list and purchase them in quantity. But right now, again, this is something that people want to see. They want to have a decent experience. I'm not saying that each product has to have 25 images, but make sure that at least each product has an image, possibly high quality. Now, the next thing is the user-generated content. As well, before buying, you want to understand what other people think of it, not just you as a merchant. So having reviews is normally very useful, but also other things like Instagram feeds, for example, or because there may be companies that buy from you that have an Instagram feed where they're tagging some of your products, and having that, demonstrating, providing that social proofing, demonstrating that other people are buying it and they are happy about it, that's all good. So social proofing is needed in B2C, like it's essentially B2C, but it's really, really useful in B2B as well. Tutorials is something that you can put inside the product page itself to help them validate that that is the right product, so that also they learn how to use it, not necessarily just, sell it. And then your policies, because you need to talk about the returns and they need to be really easily accessible. They're normally in the footer, but sometimes it's even better to put an additional link saying, hey, by the way, this is the return policy for this product specifically. And then there is customer service, who needs to be able to interact with the person, especially on chat, while they're on the page, and see that, for example, they are viewing a specific product on a specific page, and maybe they have some questions, and they start interacting. Remember that one person on a live chat can probably interact with 7-8 people simultaneously, whilst a customer service agent on the phone can only interact with one person at a time. So you need less people to offer the same level of service, or you can use the same amount of people to offer a better level of service. So on to the next quote. This is something which is very typical in B2B, not very much seen in B2C, but it is nevertheless out of the box with Magento as a quoting process. But I just want to talk a little bit more about this quoting process, because you can do this over email in theory, or you may be doing this over email, or over the phone, or directly with customer service or sales agents. It doesn't really matter. But if you can pull all that into the actual system, you start being able to track all of that, making sure that nothing falls between the cracks, and ultimately make that sales process faster. So remember that fast processes are normally better processes from a client perspective, because it takes me less time. So for example, generating an RFQ product list. So again, I just go onto the site, select all the products that I want to add, or maybe I upload a CSV list of SKUs. It doesn't really matter how you achieve it, but ultimately you create a list of these products, and instead of saving it for the future or adding it to basket, you submit for RFQ. So for example, you create this list and you send it off to someone, you send it off to the system. Magento stores that information, and it gives the ability to some of your agents to interact with that client directly on the system. So for example, you receive the list of the products, they can approve up to a certain level of discount, but then you may want to offer an additional discount, or the client may ask for it. So there may be an approval process behind that, but all these things can be set up with Magento. And remember that all this information that we collect, all these interactions, they form part of what we know about your clients, which ultimately also helps us with all the marketing activities, remarketing activities, emails, and everything else. So having it on the system has an added value of giving you more intel over how to work with that client, individually with that specific client. Okay, so sales agent allocation, for example, so you have multitude of salespeople, they see all these quotes, they get assigned to a quote, and then they carry on the conversation, and all the communication stays on the system. It could be that, as I was saying, the discount levels that you may provide or customizations to the products, they need approval at a higher level internally, that can be arranged. And it is also a very common thing that you may have a client which has, for example, 10 different construction sites. So there is the manager at each construction site that submits requests and an order, but that order needs to be approved. So I'm talking about requisition list. So the manager at the head office approves the order and sends it through to you. But requisition list is something that is available already with the Magento B2B modules. And then there is, again, customer service who needs to have the full visibility of this. So I think that what's important from this end is that we need to have the ability to see the overall situation. So the next thing is the purchase phase, which is the, in the purchase phase, we try to eliminate as much friction as we can to make sure that they click through quite quickly. Now, of course, that there is a multitude of things that have an impact on, but these are really important, especially in the B2B area. So custom pricing, tier pricing, all sorts of pricing. Magento has quite a vast variety of options for you there. And this is typical for B2B, because in B2C, we don't really see this. We see promotions being applied to a fixed price. But in this case, you could have even custom catalogs, which are specific for a client, and then apply discounts on that, or specific pricing, tier pricing, quantity discounts, and so on. Quick checkout. Now, quick checkout is really quick when you do things like pay on account, right? So being able to pay on account, you can set a limit that the client has in terms of how much they can buy before having to pay. So essentially how much, let's say, how much risk you're willing to take on for that first order. And you can set different levels to that. But then you may also want them to be able to settle their bills using their credit card on the site. So all these payment gateways and payment systems need to be in place, but make sure that you choose the right ones which are relevant for the territory in which they're buying in and the currencies that they want to transact in. Security evidence, we are talking about all those little logos, the full SSL certificates on all pages. But ultimately, it's something that people normally check before making a transaction. Is it safe to do so? So make sure that you have those in place. They don't have to be splattered all around the website, in the footer and the header. But when you are about to buy, I want to know that it's secure. Okay. Payment option, as we said, it's part of having a quick checkout, right? So if you have the right payment options, it will be quicker. It doesn't have to be a one-step checkout. Genuinely, it really doesn't have to be. It could be a 5-step checkout, but it has to be clear, it has to be clean, and it has to be fast. And again, policies is something that you need to have there in place as well, because the policies will be a final kind of check that they may want to do. So it's like, if I need a refund, how long will it take? So these kind of information you may want to put directly there, or make a quick access to it. And then the clear confirmation, which is, I'm still surprised to see this, but often we see that new clients that we onboard, they, after the purchase phase, like, thank you, but thank you what? Now, did I order the right things? When am I going to get them? If I don't get them, who do I need to call? You know, it's all these things that you want to have in as part of the clear confirmation, right? So just make sure that this is how much you've transacted. This is when you need to pay it. This is where you can find your bills. This is what you need to do if you want to have a really good experience. Okay. Now, these two phases, I normally bundle them into one, but there is just one difference between the two. So you've bought now, or your client has bought. So you know what, they are now feeling a little bit stressed because is it going to arrive on time? Is it, what if I'm going to have an issue? You know, it's all these things. And so you want to make sure that there is tracking information available, that you are able to go on the website, that the client is able to go on the website and see the status update of the order. But instead of doing that, normally they revert to customer service. It's like, where is my parcel? Which you don't really want because it's a waste of time. So why not just send out proactive notifications saying, hey, look, your parcel is still being processed. Again, that doesn't have to be an update. Even if there isn't an update, that's still an update. So let them know that parcel is still being worked on, okay? Then we have the support pages. Again, frequently asked questions, anything that could be useful in that sense. And make sure that your customer service has access to all this information, because somebody will still want that human touch and feel that they are important to you. Therefore, they will pick up the phone and call customer service nevertheless, okay? So make sure you have it in place. In the return policy, of course, if I'm returning goods, I also want to know when I'm going to get refunded, right? If I've paid it. If I haven't paid, I just want to make sure that I'm not going to get billed for it. So make sure that you have those things in place. But one thing that you may want to do is to initiate the return process online. So on the website, because it may be that they just need to exchange something. If they just send it back, you then have to refund and then have to remake an order. Instead, if you initiate the process online, they may just be able or ask to essentially exchange the product. That way you don't lose the sale. So there is more information you can collect. It's like the parcel was broken, or it arrived damaged, or the box was damaged, or anything like that. But if you don't ask those questions, you're never really going to know. So if everything just goes back to the warehouse and then they deal with it, okay, you may get the intel, but at least if we get it on at a previous stage, we can use that in frequently asked questions, for example. Okay, the feedback loop. Now, this is, in my mind, one of the most important parts of this entire experience, because people that have experienced receiving a good, buying it, receiving it, potentially even returning it, it doesn't mean that it's a negative experience. And you want to collect that information because it can improve your product, it can improve your experience, it can improve your service, everything. And also your client satisfaction, because if I'm able to provide feedback and see the results from that feedback, I'm going to be a happier client anyway. So user-generated content is a great way, like whatever that may be. It may be simple reviews, and you don't even have to display it to others, but do collect it as a minimum. Social integration, again, very important. See what's happening on your social media channels. Are they engaging with customer service there? Normally when they do that, it's because customer service is not getting back on time, right? Within a certain amount of time, and therefore they go onto social media to make a little bit more noise so that you'll notice them. So this is something that, again, to collect the information from them, use it. Any other channel, whatever these may be that you have, I don't know, if you may have pop-up stores, it doesn't really matter, but from any channel that you have, do collect that information. And then you have customer service. So customer service normally gets lots of, like, whatever it is, complaints, feedback, positive feedback, whatever that is, it's gold. And because all this information is normally used in the validation phase before someone makes a purchase. So you want to be able to leverage all this in that phase, because it's going to build trust, and it will help clients get to the point where there is actually something going on, right? There is trust being built. So this is essentially everything that I have to say here. And there is an exercise that you can do very, very quickly. So this is called an experience self-assessment. So what you can do is create a diagram where you score yourself as a company and how you think you are, what kind of experience you're giving on each one of these segments. Then you look at asking your clients how they feel about what you are delivering. And then you look at other companies not in your vertical, but in the industry in general. Could be Amazon, doesn't matter. But like, how do you compare to them? And you will see that there are gaps. Now, the bigger the gap in these areas, these are, remember, the pillars of a successful experience. The bigger the gap, the sooner you need to make investments on that area, because fixing that area is probably going to be a low-hanging fruit. There is so much that you need to do in that area that a little investment may bring big benefits anyway. So do this, try this at home, try to see how this works out for you. But ultimately, I think this is an exercise that everybody should be doing anyway. So I encourage you to at least try it. So this is it from our end. And I would say feel free to get in touch with us at any point. And here are our contact details. Reach out on LinkedIn. Let's have a conversation. But if you need anything to do with Magento and Marketo, we're here to help. We've been partners with them for a very long while, and we just look forward to hearing from you. That's all. All right, I'm just checking if there are any of the questions. So we have a poll going out, and but I think we've now run out of time, to be honest. So if there is an interest in any of these areas that you want to know more, not that you need to purchase anything, but simply you want to know more about it, I would just say reach out to us and we'll have a conversation about it. Okay? Right. Well, in which case, have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.